All right, let's do this. Go ahead and just push your textbook to the side for a few minutes. Because today, we're not going to just memorize facts. We're going on a little journey, a trip into this tiny, kind of chaotic kingdom inside the body to solve a real pharmacological mystery. We're going to unravel the story of one of the body's most important and, most contradictory systems.
Welcome to Pharmacology Lore. We turn confusing medical concepts into stories you'll never forget.
So, let's just jump right into the big question, the whole reason we're here. How is it possible? How can the exact same system, using the exact same main character, cause both a wild, chaotic flood of, everything, and at other times a complete and total frozen stillness? It seems impossible, right? Well, by the end of this, you're going to know the secret. So, these are our two tales, the two extremes. On one side, you've got the sludge flood, a total, messy system overload. And on the other, the silent mountain, a state of perfect, still paralysis. They look like total opposites, but believe it or not, they both start with the very same two characters. So, let's meet them. Our story kicks off in a land where everything is in perfect balance, and that balance is all thanks to a really energetic king and his very, very tired knight. First up, meet King Acetylcholine. We'll just call him Ace. And you've got to picture this guy as the kingdom's ultimate on switch. He's this tiny, hyperactive ruler, and his one and only job is to run around with his golden key, unlocking and activating absolutely everything. He zips over to the saliva springs. Boom, they start gushing. He pokes the gut gorge and it starts rumbling. King Ace is all about action all the time. Now, you can probably guess that a kingdom that's always on would be total chaos. And that's why King Ace has a royal minder, the loyal but, let's be honest, constantly exhausted Sir Cholinesterase. He is the off switch. His entire job is to just trail King Ace everywhere he goes. The second the king uses his key to turn something on, the knight swoops in, politely takes the key, and breaks it, instantly turning things back off. And this whole back and forth, that is homeostasis. It's this perfect, really delicate dance. The king turns things on, the knight immediately turns them off. It's this constant action and reaction that keeps the entire kingdom running smoothly, in perfect balance. But what happens when that balance gets totally shattered? And that question brings us to our first tale. This is the story of what happens when the off switch just stops working. This is the tale of the Great Sludge Flood. So the trouble starts when a villain, let's call it a nerve agent, sneaks into the kingdom. This villain is smart. It knows the only thing stopping total chaos is our tired old knight. So it creeps up from behind and covers Sir Cholinesterase in this magical, completely unbreakable glue. The knight is frozen solid. He is totally 100% unable to do his job. And as you can see here, things fall apart fast. Step 1, the knight is frozen, so the off switch is gone. Step 2, King Ace, with absolutely no one to stop him, just goes wild. Every lock he touches is now permanently stuck in the on position. And the result? Step 3, the entire kingdom begins to flood. In medical terms, we'd call this a cholinergic crisis. But in our story, it's the sludge flood. The saliva springs are overflowing. The tear ducts have become literal waterfalls. The gut gorge and the bladder dam have burst their gates. The whole kingdom is just drowning in its own fluids. It is a complete and utter disaster. But wait, just when it looks like all hope is lost, two very different heroes ride in, and each one has a totally unique plan to save the kingdom from this flood. Okay, so our two heroes show us two completely different ways to fix this mess. First, you've got Sir Atropine. He's got this giant shield. But here's the thing, he doesn't even try to fight the king. Instead, he just runs ahead of him and physically covers up all the keyholes. So King Ace's key just uselessly bounces off. He blocks the effect. Then you've got our second hero, Pralidoxime. He brings a special potion. He ignores the king, goes right to the source of the problem, and uses his potion to dissolve that glue on the knight. He restores the off switch. Okay, time for our second tale. And for this one, I want you to flip the problem completely on its head. Here, the goal isn't to stop a flood. The goal is to create perfect, absolute stillness. This is the tale of the wizard's magic gum. So, in another part of our kingdom, a wise wizard anesthesiologist is getting ready for a really delicate surgery on Muscle Mountain. But there's a problem. our hyperactive King Ace keeps stopping by, trying to unlock things, and that's making the mountain twitch. And for this surgery, the wizard needs it to be perfectly, absolutely still. So what's the wizard's plan? He doesn't attack the king, he doesn't mess with the knight. Instead, he just reaches into his pocket, pulls out a piece of magical chewing gum called Rocuronium, and he calmly walks over and just plugs up the main keyhole on Muscle Mountain. Simple as that. So now, when our buddy King Ace shows up, full of energy, ready to get things moving, his key, well, it just won't fit into the lock. It's blocked. He can't activate the mountain. The result is exactly what the wizard wanted. The mountain lies perfectly still, paralyzed, and the surgery can begin. But here comes the next challenge. The surgery is a total success, but that magical gum is still stuck firmly in the keyhole. Muscle Mountain is still paralyzed. So how in the world does the wizard reverse this and wake the mountain back up? Well, the wizard has a really clever strategy, a controlled, targeted flash flood. He uses a potion called Neostigmine, but only to temporarily stun the knight right there at Muscle Mountain. This causes a massive buildup of King Ace's golden keys, but only in that one specific area. And soon, the sheer pressure of all those keys trying to jam themselves into the lock is so huge that it literally pops the gum right out. And just like that, Muscle Mountain wakes up. So there you have it, two tales. You've now seen the exact same system cause both a flood and a freeze, and that means you're ready for the secret. And here it is. This is the entire point. It all comes down to what you block. If you want to cause a flood, you let the king run wild by taking out his minder. You block the knight. But if you want to cause a pause, a stillness, you stop the king's key from ever working in the first place. You block the keyhole. And so you've discovered the secret to the paradox. The pharmacology of this whole system isn't just some random list of drugs you have to memorize for an exam. No, it's just a story. A story about a hyperactive king, his tired knight, and one simple choice. Do you need to block the knight to cause a flood, or do you need to block the keyhole to cause a pause? Understanding that single difference, well, that's everything.
If this helped you have that click moment, like and subscribe so you won't miss the next piece of lore.